everyone, quick video, which will probably not be as quick as I intended because I'm a very wordy person. Um, Hi, I'm making shadows. Let's see if that, oh, that's better. I'm new at this stuff. Um, let's see, where was I going? Okay, so I had a few things that I wanted to talk about. First, a little bit about my breakdown this weekend because for real, guys, I had a for real breakdown. Um, just to kind of clarify, because people are like, what's going on with syntax? Because syntax is going kind of crazy. Yeah, I went kind of crazy. So I have multiple health things coming up. Um, I scheduled I scheduled my surgery, so I have to. You guys are gonna get like TMI on my body, but whatever. I have no filters, so you just get to hear it. If you want to watch this video, which you know what, it's your choice what you do with your time. If it's not entertaining to you or doesn't serve any purpose, then don't watch it. Like these people that watch people's videos just to bitch and complain, I'm like, do you just like not have any time? Or like John Berta was talking about people that go on spaces and they're like just there to bash a ticker. Like people clearly have an agenda. So if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Nothing I say should ever be considered financial advice because I'm obviously not a financial advisor. But you guys know that I have put my soul into this process. I have been I started Torchlight, I think it was like February of, oh my gosh, it's at that point where it's like been so long, I'm like, years. Okay. So like 20, no, 21 was when the merger happened and then MMTLP started trading. Yeah, no, it would have been 21. I think. Yeah, so not this last year. I'm almost ready to stop my video because I'm like, now I'm just going to sound dumb. I've been in this for a hot minute, like months before the merger. And that's all you guys need to know. I was not as involved in any social media aspect of it other than I had gotten into it because I had a friend who had suggested that I check out the Discord group Atlas. And so I did because at that point I had traded some crypto. Like I was used to crypto because that's kind of how I was thrown into this. I was familiar with that, and so transitioning to stocks was a little bit more comfortable than somebody maybe who hadn't had any experience. I had like some understanding, but at that point in time, like guys, I cannot tell you how unhealthy I was. So I have lupus, and well, it's actually mixed connective tissue disease, which means I have like a smorgasbord of many autoimmune diseases, but my primary is lupus, systemic lupus. So like the sunlight doesn't give me rashes. My issue is like it's destroying my organs. I had a lot of joint issues. Um, at that point in time, it was really helpful for me because I had just moved from Virginia during COVID to Florida. I had zero friends. Um, Except for the one that I did have that was somewhat close, but not really anyone close, or I didn't have a tribe. I didn't have roots in that area. And um so it was kind of cool because then if I got into stocks, it gave me something to do. I wasn't able to work at that point in time, so which I wouldn't have anyways because I was able to stay home with my daughter. She was like 3 at the point in time. Um, but it gave me some fulfillment when I was at a point in my life where I was like at my low because my everything was basically being taken from me. Most impactful was my health, and it got to the point where so fun things about lupus. So I have pericarditis, which means the lining around my heart, sometimes when I flare, it gets inflamed. And so it's super weird. Like I go to lay down and it feels like an elephant sitting on my chest. It hurts anyways normally. Like it almost feels like I can't breathe because I'm like sucking in water. Um, but it's super painful. But my body started attacking my muscles. And I got to the point where I couldn't sit up on my own. I couldn't get out of bed. Guys, I couldn't. I was in bed, and I was just so sick, and I couldn't get myself up. Like, my core strength was gone. I couldn't get myself up to go to the bathroom. My husband, I'm like, at that point, 37 years old, 38, I don't know, somewhere around there. Yeah, 37. He had to take me to go to the bathroom, guys. That's horrible. I mean, my husband is an amazing person. He's a very private person, which is kind of funny that he's married to such a polar opposite. But he was my rock, um, and Meta just kind of like was interesting because I was doing more of like, if you know Atlas, it's more of like your pump and dumps, right? So I got exposed to Meta, and everyone else, I was like, it's just a play. But once you start researching, and I would highly recommend this to anybody who's in MMTLP, um, not just because there's the possibility of a double squeeze, but just because of the fundamentals of the company and how amazing it is, and the technology, and how game changing and revolutionizing this is going to be. I mean, we're talking, sorry, side tangent for a second, then I'll get back to my story. We're talking about a company that can make materials that were not once possible, right? Because they're not things that you find in nature, but they're things that can make our lives better, especially as we move forward with technology. It'll make things more efficient. It will make things safer. It will make things, shoot, I mean, you've heard Ken Rice talking about the invisibility cloak. Like, there's so many applications. It's insane. And so for me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna change the world. So yeah, so I was like, I just didn't sell. And then there was, obviously the merger was gonna happen, and I was holding on, and I just believed in it. So much so that, get back to my other story, my health sucked. The other thing my body does is it have an anti-neutrophil antigen, which means that my body attacks its own white blood cells. So it was just so messed up. Um, but I got to a point where that flare, so lupus does this weird thing where you go in flare. So that flare kind of subsided a little bit. Like, I still have issues, but like, I wasn't on my deathbed. Like, I was not okay. Um, so we moved to Idaho, and as we were only in Florida for a year. So we moved to Idaho, again at a place with no roots, but I had moved to Reddit, because obviously the Atlas group wasn't a good community for me to continue my desire to discuss and learn about Meta. So I moved to Reddit, and then from there I realized Reddit wasn't really a good fit for me, so I tried Twitter out. So yeah, I've only been on Twitter for like a year and a half, if that, just quite under a year and a half. So that's when I found Smokey and Pidge and Sterling and Terry and um, all these great people. And it became very interactive. It became a very comfortable community with very amazing, like minded people. Not necessarily an echo chamber, just like minded in the fact that we all had a love and could see the vision of the company. And so that's when I started the MetaFam chats, because I'd seen that they had functioned well for other communities, and I thought that maybe that might be a good option for our community. And I think that they've actually turned out pretty well, and it's worked well for us. Um, and so my involvement kind of like started picking up. My passion. I'm an advocate. I'm a social worker. I advocate for things that I feel are important, and this gave me an outlet to do so. And so, the whole time we were in Idaho, so we were there for like 11 months. I really poured my soul into it. I had some huge missteps. The whole thing with Voltron, you can see if you go back, and Curtis had actually pointed this out. I took a break. I had another breakdown. I have two breakdowns now, guys, because someone needs to learn some coping skills, for social media, which is funny because I like literally taught people coping skills, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, and so yeah, you can see in like March, I had some struggles with the whole Voltron stuff, and my role in that and everything that happened there, but that's water under the bridge. So yeah, things were going well. My family was pretty supportive. My family has been amazingly supportive. You know, I've got 4 kids, guys. I've got 4 kids, and I've got a husband who is gone a lot. He's gone a lot because he's in the military. That's what they do. They go and do. Um, but when he's home, he, will take the kids bowling so I can do these family chat or these fam chats, these meta fam chats. Like, so props to him. And I know you guys don't see it because it's behind the scenes. Um, but think about your YouTubers too, like Smokey, his family. I know he's got a wife and 2 kids, and then everybody else. I'm not too familiar with everyone else's families. I know Pidge is married. These people all are supportive of their loved one taking time away from the family to do their passion. So props to y'all. Um, so yeah, he was super supportive. Um, and it was good for me because, like I said, I didn't have roots, and it gave me something to do that I was passionate about. And then we moved to Florida, back to Florida, a different area in Florida, but we moved back to the Panhandle. And so yeah, I had been healthy because I had that flare forever ago, and then things were doing well, but things are starting to pick back up. And as stress from what's happening with Meta started picking back up, a few things happened. I started getting more involved because I'm a glutton for punishment. I guess I'm very committed to responding to DMs. I'm very committed to paying attention to what's in the threads, and it got so overwhelming, guys. And the hate is so strong, and I wish that I could say that I have a thick skin and I could push it off. There's some things that don't bother me, like for instance, there's this new stupid fake Starling account, and he'll tell me that I'm an attention whore, which, obviously I was grateful that he said the word whore, because I'm like, woohoo, we can try and block this guy on Twitter because he's just like a cancerous growth. He just needs to go away. Um, but, or he'll say like, oh, she's a 5.5 out of a 10, like assuming that because I'm a female or something that if you say something about my looks that it's gonna crush me. Like, ha ha ha, dude, like there's some things that are just not gonna bother me, and insulting the way I look, that, I mean, you can insult my mind and the content that I bring, yeah, that might sting a little bit. But if you're gonna insult like my face and my body or whatever, like, first, it shows how tacky and classless you are, and second, like, this is gonna sound cocky, like, I know I'm okay, so whatever. I do well for myself. Everything that I need to do it's fine. Um, so anyways, that guy is stupid. Some of that stuff doesn't bother me, but some of the other hate I was getting, it was really stinging, especially when it's attacking what I bring to the community, because I find, not that I get my identity from the community, but when you have had these health problems and you're isolated because you're in a place where you don't have roots, my community, my family, like, it legitimately is, you guys are my people. You are my people, you are my tribe. As silly as that may sound because it's social media, but I mean, when people go through something difficult together, you create a bond. There's a camaraderie there, and holy shit, have we gone through something big and continue to do so. But to the point where, was I not establishing roots and building connections here because I was so absorbed in what was going on in social media, in not real world. And it started affecting my family because every time I was diving into my phone or my computer, there's something that I need to attend to, and I was putting them on the back burner. And then when I put them on the back burner to give them a little bit more time, I was basically disconnected completely from my external family, because who has time? And so it was creating rifts in my family, in my marriage, because my priorities were off. My priorities were really off, and it was that stress and everything it was showing in my body, because that's what autoimmune diseases do, guys. They show up in your body. So just to speak to my surgery, so my first surgery, which I actually scheduled around the squeeze potential. I scheduled my surgery for the 14th because I was like, I'll be done, it'll be good, because I feel like I can't put my cell limit high enough, and I really feel that this is going to squeeze. I mean, we're still waiting for um, well, let's dive into this one too. So FINRA's delaying, right? And I heard some people speaking on the fam chat last night. I missed a lot of it just because um, Twitter sucks. So if I'm repeating things, I'm sorry. If I'm not giving credit to people, I'm sorry. Most of my ideas come from you guys anyways. I can't necessarily pinpoint who, but you guys kind of help me pick and choose what I think is relevant. So I believe FINRA is delaying because they don't want FOMO to come in. John Burtis had stated that um, per his research, they didn't cover with the merger, and so there was a lot of people stuck. But it also shows you how FOMO can create a run up, and we've seen it with GME, AMC, all that stuff. But I think that we're in a position now because people have seen the possibilities of squeezes and a run up, and how social media has impacted that moving forward, um, you're going to see FOMO to a much greater extent than you had seen in the past, right? So it's going to be easier for FOMO to, like hop on a squeeze, like as opposed to OSTK or Volkswagen or any of that stuff, because the climate has shifted. And so with that being said, we know that they have not covered, the shorts have not covered. They've got, a short window to cover. And unfortunately, the delay may have distracted from FOMO, but I believe the reason for that was because if FOMO comes in, it's going to be more difficult for those shorts to cover. So I think it was very purposefully done. And it also creates fear, which, suppresses the price, which we have seen. And so I think, and I completely believe that, everything's still going to be wrapped up and done. But what this means, wrapped up and done on the 12th, what this means to me, my belief is, and we'll see what happens. I could be wrong, and that's okay. Like, this is just a theory. Tinfoil hat, y'all. So, what I believe will happen is it's going to be very quick, and it's going to be very volatile. Quick meaning, it could be days, but still, it's not going to be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. It's going to be fast, and I believe that there are too many shorts. I mean, we have synthetics, guys, and look at how Torch was shorted for a decade. Like, Berta's got some righteous anger in him, and I really appreciate him. So I believe it's gonna get pretty crazy. I think it's gonna shoot up. I think people are gonna have the opportunity to take their tendies. Is that a word? Like, I know I've heard it before. I hope I'm using it appropriately. Tendies, like chicken tendies. Get your monies from the squeeze. And then for those of us who want to roll over to NextBridge, then great, roll over to NextBridge. I personally am going to do a little bit of both because I'm curious to see what's on the other end. But the glorious thing that I think is planned, and I know that some people have talked about this a little bit, was that there's no way in hell they're going to be able to cover all their positions even with the squeeze. Like, it's going to go crazy, and they're still not going to be able to get out. Kind of like people trying to get out of a burning building. Like, some of you guys might be able to get out, but some of you guys are going to get stuck. And when that happens, it has been set up. The NextBridge legal team is very aware, and they're very prepared, and they are ready. They are ready, and they're going to, take the task on legally, which is awesome in the respect that any recouping of monies through the legal route, it is not going to detract from your ability to sell. It's not going to detract from, NextBridge to sell NextBridge. So yeah, I mean, it's not like NextBridge can't sell to Exxon or Oxy or anything like that because they're waiting on this legal stuff. Like, that's not a non-issue. So yeah, so it's a way for people to recoup money from damages, and there's been a lot of damages, and I hope to God he can take them to task. And I say Berta like he's going to be the lawyer. He's not like Matlock. He's not going to be, the one doing everything, but he's put in place people, he's delegated the people that will represent, and they will represent well. And I hope they feel the pain, because what they've done is so corrupt and evil and wrong. And I'm so hopeful, guys, that based on what happens with the squeeze, um, based on the exposing of the things that are coming to light and what may happen legally, like, I just believe that maybe it's going to be so epic that there are going to have to be rules changed. And I know some people are worried about, oh, well, what happens if, they stop it and it doesn't close? Well, guess what? I don't think that's going to happen, because if that does happen, something even more disastrous would be waiting for these brokers, these hedge funds, and that's a DOJ investigation. And if a DOJ investigation happens, a lot of shit's going to come to the surface. So I don't think they want that. And so that's not even in my mindset. Like, I'm not worried about that at all. For me, I believe that the delay is to stop FOMO so that the price will be suppressed moving into their coverage. That just makes sense to me. You guys can come up with your own theory, but that's my theory. So, all this FINRA stuff and the delay started coming up. My family was like, hey, we need you, Mom. My health, I scheduled my first surgery, which is I get to get my uterus out. Yay for me. Actually, there's some really good things about that, but I'm not going to go into that because some of you guys are all phobic about talking about women's cycles and such. So we're not going there. So that's happening. And then the other thing that's really important that needs to happen, and you guys may hear me talk a little bit more about this on social media because it's something that I'm passionate about and I want to advocate for, is there's something called breast implant illness. And so I have silicone implants. Yeah, they're not real. And that's fine. So what happens is when they created this new silicone that came out, I got mine like 11 years ago, and they were like, oh, old silicone wasn't safe, but we've got this new material and it's going to be completely safe. And they like show you this video where they can like cut an implant in half and it like doesn't migrate and it's supposed to be all great. And I was like, yay, I can be safe and have boobs too. And I'd had, at that point I'd had 3 kids, like just finished nursing my third. And so I went ahead and got them done. And yeah, I just, like, my lupus was really, really not bad at that point. I should not have had them in, but I didn't know, and I don't think the research was out yet that lupus and or autoimmune diseases and silicone were an issue. And so at that point I'd been diagnosed, but that was because I had like joint issues in my hands. Nothing like internal had happened at that point. And then I started getting really sick pretty soon after. And now the research has come out that they're like, holy shit, women are getting sick from these implants, and women who were not diagnosed with autoimmune diseases are getting diagnosed pretty soon afterwards. And there's these significant symptoms that are associated with these implants. And so I was kind of, I'm vain in a little way. I'm not insecure because we already discussed that, but I am a little vain. Like, I like my boobs. And so I've kind of known about this for a few years, but I've been wrestling with it. And then I was wrestling with it, and then I was too sick. Remember I was talking about like when I couldn't get out of bed to even like contemplate having surgeries. And then, oh shoot, with like my hysterectomy, I tried to have that a year ago. And my white count was too low. Like, I was at the hospital in the gown, like ready to get wheeled, and they're like, no, we can't do surgery on you because your absolute neutrophil count was like 400 or something like that. And so that was before they really knew what happened. I had a bone marrow biopsy after that, and that sucks. So anyways, so yeah, I've got that surgery scheduled, and then I had the breast implant removal surgery scheduled, and part of it, it's not like they can just take the implants out, because what your body does is it builds this capsule, like a protective layer over the implant, right? Kind of like, I think of it as an oyster with a pearl, and how like a grain of sand can get in there and it's a foreign object, and so it'll just build, the pearl around it. Except my capsule's not quite as pretty as a pearl. But so they have to go in and they have to basically it's reconstructive surgery. They have to take out all my tissue right there. as much as they can, because they're also finding that this capsule that forms around your implant, there's a particular kind of breast cancer that's only associated with implants, and so they want to get that out because women are getting cancer from it. Um, and then the cool thing is he can give me a fat transfer and try and fill me up a little bit. So all is not lost as far as my boobies. But yeah, I was like, can you like take it from down here? And I guess they have to take it from like your lower stomach, which I don't really have an issue with, but because it's vascular. So we'll see. You guys will see that journey coming up. Um, but first, the hysterectomy. So the last Friday, that's where you saw me. I went to my hematologist, wanted me to go see the oncologist because they do the reconstructive, because I have to get they have to do some things. Um, and so I was sad. I sat in my car, like, to go to the appointment. I was there a little bit early, and I just cried. Because, my health, my family stuff, the stupid FINRA stuff, like, I felt defeated, and I just felt hurt, and I was getting attacked by somebody who'd like just newly come into the community, and that was really harsh and really hurtful. Um, so sorry, someone was calling. I had to turn it off. So things got heavy, and I struggled. And I had a break, and I was like, this is not healthy for me. And so that's when and I felt like I wasn't important to the community, because this particular person was telling me I didn't bring anything to the community, and that, everyone always says you're an attention whore, and I'm like, well, whatever. I just like people. I like you guys. It doesn't make me a whore. It just means I like you. And so it was hurting me. It was affecting me too much. Like, I was stuck, and I realized it's become an obsession, an addiction. My phone was an addiction. Like, I took a respite over the weekend, and it was so weird to stand in line to get something at the store and not to go on your phone, or to pump gas and not to go on your phone. And so, like, I'm standing there, and I'm like looking around, I'm noticing things that I wouldn't normally notice. We went out, we had some hotel points, so we went, and my husband and I stayed at a hotel. His birthday's coming up, but I'm gonna have to have that surgery, and so you can't do intimate stuff. So I was like, okay, we'll use these points, we'll go beforehand. But he was, in the restroom or whatever he was doing, and I was just laying there. Like, at this point, that's when I would be on my phone checking in with you guys, and I'm looking out the window, and there's this tree with like all these little berries on it, and these little birds, and I'm just watching them. That's stuff that I wouldn't notice. I was so sucked in to my phone and to Twitter specifically that I wasn't noticing the world around me, and that's not a way I want to live. So I'm trying to be more mindful and more grounded, and it's hard because I have this desire to respond to all your DMs. I have this desire to respond to everything I'm tagged in, but I can't anymore. I can't. And I thought that I had to give up the Metafan chats, but I really think that there's some way that I can find to do it healthy. And maybe it needs to be on Discord, because Twitter sucks. I don't know what's wrong with Twitter. But so the other thing that happened, and this is lovely. So on top of all this like crazy health stuff that I have going, stress does stuff to your body. And so I had this happen to me. I'll show you guys. It sucks. You guys see that? I have shingles now. The stress gave me shingles. Like, no, I know I'm totally responsible for it, because I had an obligation to my body to just kind of, but I couldn't. And your body has this weird way of manifesting things. And so I think that just shows, how much I was struggling, although you guys could see it too. And I appreciate all the kind things that so many people, there's jerks, and people have their agenda, and they'll say, oh, she sold, which pisses me off beyond no belief, to use my struggles as a way to peddle your agenda. Like, that's not cool. And you guys saw through that. But the support that I got from you guys, and like, even if I didn't see it, but the general consensus was, take care of yourself. You've done a lot for the community. We appreciate you, and take care of yourself. And that meant so much to me, like, to have your approval. And I know I don't need your approval, but it meant a lot. we have an amazing community, a really amazing community. I have some really good friends. Some really good friends. Gobs, Smokey has been my rock. Um, More so because I think he empathizes. I think he probably, you know, probably knows the level of stress way more than I've ever felt, because he just does so much. Um, I just I couldn't have done this journey without him, without you guys. This has been hard. This has been really hard, and I guess I thought that this would be the fun part where we could just finally get our vindication. But the fun part's still coming. It's just not as soon as I had assumed it would be. I was kind of hoping that we would have like the last 2 weeks just to be like, ha ha ha, it's coming. But they had a little bit of fuckery up their sleeves, and they're trying to use their dirty, dirty tricks, and they can't use them much longer. And I just want you guys to know that we're in this together, to stay strong, to pay attention to who's saying what, and to see if they're healthy for you. And if they're not healthy for you, maybe it's time to create boundaries. Maybe you guys can be on this journey with me. Maybe we should spend our efforts more wisely, more healthy. I know I know there's a part of us that wants to be passionate and jump in when we see someone who's being an asshole to somebody. Especially, there's a lot of people who have been standing up for me. And I am so grateful for your concern and your love, and to shut it down. But, just say what you need to say and move on. Block them. Move on. Because there's 100 others waiting behind them. And if we spend our energy on the little guys, what's going to happen when the big boss guy comes? Like we need to be strong and be healthy together. And I hope that in some way this helps people understand where I was coming from, the struggles that I've had. I don't know. I was not doing anything for attention. It wasn't about attention. It was about a mental breakdown. So that's not glamorous either. So if we're going to call it something that's not glamorous, let's call it the mental breakdown, because it's kind of what it was. So that's that. I'm going to see about the video giveaway, but I think Goblin King's the only one who submitted. So I think just by default he wins that. But I did have an idea that I wanted to bounce off of you guys, and I'll put it on big Twitter for those of you who didn't watch the video. I did pull a winner for let me see if I can find them, for the person. Remember I said if you retweet this post then you'd be eligible, and I randomly picked. And I'm sorry guys, like I don't have the energy to like show you guys on a video and like pull an app and do that. Like I honestly just went and closed my eyes and picked a person, because I'm having to create boundaries now because I am not healthy. So, Joey Marine, whose handle is the underscore, I think that's an underscore, Joey underscore Marine. He's my winner for the retweeting. And so he's going to get a shirt. But I had an idea. In the spirit of gratitude, because I'm so grateful for you. I know you guys are grateful for me, and we're very grateful people. We're also very grateful for, our other YouTubers and other DDers and all such. I have a thought, and I'm hoping you guys are okay with this thought. I have 2 women's jackets, right? The 2 torch flag. So it says torchlight on it. One of them is a size medium. And my heart thinks that it would be really appropriate to go to pitch. And I'm hoping that you guys agree with me, and then maybe through our process of doing these, 12 days of giving or 12 days of torchlight, that we can, instead of doing like a competition or a raffle or something like that, that we can take a moment to show our gratitude to somebody in the community who's been very impactful. So I'm going to put a vote out for that. I know you guys are amazing, so I'm pretty sure we'll all agree. So I think it's pretty much a done deal, but I have to be on the up and up and do that. So I'll do that. And then, like I said, Joey Marine, he gets the retweet. Goblin King's the one who submitted the videos. He gets that. I had some other ideas. I was thinking maybe you guys could help nominate people And I think that will be a really good idea. Let's nominate people who've done good things for us in this community because there's so many people who've put effort. Let's let's put that out there, who we're appreciative to and why we're appreciative to them. I think that would bring a lot of positivity, and we could use that right now. So I think that's all I had to say, and yeah, just keep your spirits up. This can get hard and heavy, but we're in this together, and let's try and create let's try and create boundaries together and be healthier so that we can just keep at it, because there's going to be another battle after this one. So love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.